Yeah.
Kept it crying all the time until that rope rock, from every direction until that rock up on top.
Yeah. Were you there to watch
Yeah, I
it?
remember when
Who was that? Grandpa did it?
that
Try
was
to
a
get it
boulder, it was
from-
about that big, I think.
It was a monster.
I was gonna
Grandpa did it?
Grandpa big up,
Grandpa
It
did
is
it.
too big to
Yeah.
lift.
Yeah.
but if you could take that, that'd be terrific.
Us three boys had all
Just
come
take
to
it.
the,
Thank you.
to visit there or do something there.
It's powerful.
With Grandpa or Grandma, and it so
Want me to get you
happened
some
that Grandpa was working on this boulder, so
Maybe a
Butch
little
and Walt and I, we
Okay.
helped them get that boulder up.
Well, I helped
It took a
too. I
while.
remember very distinctly helping do that.
Yeah.
They must
Took
be
a
having a
lot
good
of,
time.
took a lot
out
of patience to keep prying on that, and then go over here and pry it from this side to this side.
He worked it up.
Well, like Delbert said, he was a very patient man. He was very kind,
Very
always.
meek.
Grandpa was, you know.
Oh,
And Grandma, she was feisty. Was, well, different personality. She was a Sonnenberg. But Grandpa was always so gentle and kind to everybody, she said. He says,
See if this is a
Grandpa
picture.
Donkey. And then we'd go out there for Christmas sometimes, you know, and the kerosene lantern hanging from the, above the table in the
Oh, just
dining
the
room
little
there.
corner.
They didn't have any
Up until-
electricity, you know, it was the kerosene lantern.
What name do you use now, Colonel? Is it Bigalka or Bigalki?
I guess most of the people that I know is pronounce it Big Alpha.
Well, Mom used to want to be called Bigalki.
Yeah, I think so. Big Alpha. Delbert, he still calls us Big Alpha.
Delbert?
Delbert still calls
Bigalki?
it, pronounces it Big Alpha. No.
Now, the story behind that was too, when he landed on Ellis Island, the first one that came over with that name, it's supposed to be A or E, and they changed it to the whatever the letter, and so it was always a kind of a question what it's supposed to be, A or an E.
And
See?
the story I got out of it was that Grandpa, I think, told us that great-grandfather went to Sioux Falls with a team of oxen to register his claim.
Mm-hmm.
And it came back to him sometime later, and they had an A on the end, and he was not going to drive his team of oxen back to Sioux Falls to change that one letter.
Okay.
Wow.
That's,
Probably both true
that's
stories,
the same story that I heard about him.
because I've heard of a lot of that Ellis Island business where
Oh, yeah.
everybody got more darn mixes up than they can,
Well, on the computer, I found both,
so.
DNA.
Oh, he did. Oh. Oh.
The only ones I know are those out of Escalon with their sheep ranch. Gus Bigalka's boys. But the
Yeah, we
dads-
never really knew any Bigalka cousins in the otherwise, you know, from the
No,
other generation. We
No.
never knew any of them.
these would be Dad's cousins.
You know, Dad's cousins. Now, your name, Artie, is purely
Polak.
Polak. Is right.
Both sides of the family.
And your mother's maiden name was
Kumor.
Kumor, and that's the same deal.
Yeah.
That's Polish too.
You're what?
Polish.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Well, we were 100% Kraut.
German, yeah.
Yeah. We lived
That's
right next to each other. There were a lot of times Germany and Poland were changing borders. And
interchangeable, yeah.
They
That's
may
right.
be relatives, Artie, you
Grandmother.
never know.
Grandmother Girth had family, brothers or what, in the Polish corridor when World War
That's Schultz.
was
Oh.
started.
She was a Schultz.
Brothers fighting against brothers there.
that's
And during World War II, I know Grandma Girth was quite sympathetic to the German people.
Oh, yes, you betcha.
And I remember Dad telling Mom, you gotta stop her doing that.
She wanted
What's
the
the matter with her? She's just talking that big. Mom said, don't change.
she wanted the Americans to lose.
He doesn't mean anything. Let her talk. I'm sure asked Mama, I said, how come? You could talk German and Dad and everybody else in that period. But us kids never got to it. And she says, well, we were afraid to let you talk that or teach you. The Germans in World War I, and after that, you know, it looked after you favorably. Even in World War II. Well, remember at Honky's funeral home? He was a great supporter of the war bond issues,
Oh.
and they painted his whole building red or some color. Some of those dingbats back there.
Oh, yeah.
Bought more bonds than anybody. Honky's funeral home.
I was stationed over in Germany for a year and a half when I was in the Army. And I had to go to Ordnance one day for a radio pickup or some cockeyed thing. And we all had our name tags on the shirts, you know, that we wore. And I got into this one ordnance place there, and I was talking to this German, and he said you're a big Galki. I said, yeah, that's usually the way we like to have it pronounced is Bigalki. Well, he knew some Bigalkis that lived in eastern Germany and Silesia, that he told me. And that's the reason that we got into that in discussion, and he said that of course the war was over then by that time. But, anyway, that's what he pronounced as Bigalki.
Well, you know, Dad found a Walt Bigalki down there in Browns Valley, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. There's
What's next to the border? Big Lakes.
mm-hmm.
And then there was a logging family up here named Reed. They lived in Petersburg. And I remember talking to one of them, his two brothers. They were brothers. And I talked to one of them, and I told them what my name is. And they were from Montana
Oh,
originally. And he says, I know that name. And I know that. There's some people living up around where I came from
Mhm.
know that name.
Well,
I think there's some Bigalkis up around Browns Valley, Minnesota.
Yeah,
Is that ever was that what you mentioned?
that's
No.
what I said, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's...
But it is kind of nice to have a name like that, because you sure don't have any problem with banking and anything like that.
like if it was Smith or Jones or Anderson or common names.
yeah. Well, I wonder how the fishermen are doing.
I just sent them a message. We'll see what they say.
Oh, they did. You did. Okay.
I haven't heard from them. I said, any sturgeon? I probably don't have sturgeon up here, huh?
Not that I know of.
That's why I said, any sturgeon, haha. Let's see. We go sturgeon fishing down there once in a while.
How about some nice bullheads?
Probably not in the ocean.
Oh, shoot.
Cooked, right? They weren't too bad.
Oh, yeah.
Deep fried.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like bullheads. They're easy to eat. They're not all bones. Just one in the middle and that's it. But you don't want them in the wrong season and they're muddy taste or something. Gotta be a freshwater fish.
Really.
We used to fish for crappie up in Big Stone Lake. Dad and us three boys, we'd sometimes go up there and fish off of Blocks Bay, which was about the middle of Big Stone Lake. And the crappies, you wouldn't believe how fast they would bite. And there was great big lunkers too. Some of them were about that big, you know. That's pretty good size for a crappie. But anyway, we'd drag home, the three of us would drag home the more darn fish than we could eat.
No
And never
freezing
saw a
back
fish.
then.
Never saw a fish bite that fast, you know, that they'd be so thick. But they were sure good eating.
Good fishing, all right. And every spring, Dad would bring home some bamboo poles there for a period of time, a period of years, that they would take up in town. Then he'd buy the line and the hooks they're all set to go down to the lake and fish.
Mm-hmm.
So when you had to throw back and throw up there, you know. Like a bobber on it,
Yeah,
and catch a carp.
yeah. The old carp, they had a lot of fight. Get them on the line. They like to eat angleworms, and then like golly, would get onto an angleworm and they'd go like crazy. A lot of fight, you know.
Yeah, I guess the old Clear Lake, when it dried up in the 30s, people planted potatoes in there and
In the
stuff.
lake,
I
yeah.
remember. You know, that's what they talked about. They said they did.
They said the potato picker is still laying on the bottom of the lake there, towards the northern side. But they say that once in a while somebody will snag it, I guess, and it's sticking up a little ways.
Certainly, it's got a lot of silt over it, and they can't
Yeah,
dig it
silt
out.
and dirt and mud. But that was one thing, stuff like that, was dirty furries.
Yeah.
World War II came along, they cleaned up a lot of farmyards.
Oh, you bet, yeah, with all the
All
metal,
that scrap
iron, scrap.
iron.
Never much of a swimming lake. Or nothing, you know.
But
Some
Richard,
did,
he
but
wasn't
nobody-
part of that, was he, Nat? And Louise? Nat? Yeah, I can't get your name right.
Who?
Your husband, he didn't want to part with that sort of stuff. Did he,
Old machinery?
Rich?
Yeah, what about it?
I thought he didn't part with a lot of stuff.
Well, we had a sale,
Yeah, I guess that's right.
get rid of it then, but other than that, he had a lot of old stuff, yeah.
I remember seeing old cars and
Oh, yeah.
things like that out there.
Put them all on the sale. Yep.
And they were sold, huh?
Yeah, yeah. How did they go, Artie, at our sale, some of those old cars?
Some of them went real good. Some went for just the scrap metal value, depending.
Yeah,
But there's some of those old porcelain signs,
yeah.
$700-800. Those,
Or what?
oh, those they're like porcelain signs that they used to have. Used to say some kind of oil or some kind of feed.
Oh,
$700-800 a piece on some of those.
Your head grows bald, but not your chin. That's another.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Barbasol,
We
yeah.
only had a couple of them, didn't
Oh yeah, one or two, and I didn't know what they were worth. People were driving in the day before, and I was going to take one of them because it was up against the house and put it in the road and say no entry. And I thought, man, if I'd have done that, somebody would have just taken that thing.
What do you?
I thought it was maybe $20. I didn't know. And then that old pedal car,
That little pedal car.
that went for a couple $100. Pieces
Okay.
missing, all
Yeah.
rusty.
Is that right?
Yeah.
and the cream cans, I remember.
Uh-huh.
Few cream cans we probably had.
Don't
but
remember those.
Maybe not. Those through the years, I know some people, some things had disappeared.
Lots of tools.
Yeah.
They put them together in boxes. Just so much for this box, so much for this box. And then those little, I don't understand what those engines were. They're kind of a, not a spit take. It's some kind of, they fire and then it's like a single fire cylinder, I think.
Pumps.
Yeah, and there has a special name to them. Wesley's brother collects those. He drives to Idaho sometimes when those are for sale. I don't remember what they're called, but they're
Yeah.
skip
Yeah, I know the
Wonder where they found that
skipjack,
stuff.
or I can't remember what that
I don't
is.
know either.
There's one like that in the display in one of the banks here.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's still there or not, but I remember seeing it there. And the top was the radiator. You fill the top full of water. Keep it cool.
What you doing in there, sissy?
Heating up a little, making a little soup just in case anybody wants something before the fish.
He's doing my laundry. I wonder how many kids are in the high school now in Clear Lake.
No, Did you mean?
Yeah,
Oh, golly, kids in high school, I suppose, that'd be a little under 200. I'm not just sure.
Well, that would be 50 in every grade. I don't think they got that
No, that's right, too.
many. They have
So
never.
it might be,
Probably closer to 100.
probably
Yeah,
100, maybe a little over 100.
our Clear Lake High School was, the song was, for 100 students make this something as it should be. Everybody else usually 100.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
of course, they got that's when they consolidated, you know, and the town was the school for the farm. Kids
Oh, yeah.
came in.
Yeah, when I was in high school, and most of the kids, the country kids, the farm kids, they'd all have Model A's. They bring the Model A's, come to school in Model A's, and all of a sudden it kind of tapered off, and the first thing you know, well, then they had school buses finally came and picked up the rural
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
But there was always some, even when I went to, that always drove their, if they were in sports or something, a lot of boys drove their own cars.
Oh well, you bet.
Because they had to stay after school for practice.
Yeah,
And we
for
would start
sports.
school with track in high
Track.
school. Track, you know, running and tossing big balls and stuff like that. And then we would go into maybe a little baseball. And then, the big one game was football.
Oh yeah, sure.
6 men, not in the way.
6
You
men,
played
yeah.
football,
And then-
didn't you, Elroy?
Then we would go into basketball.
Yeah.
The kids out west would start with basketball. They didn't have any football or baseball or track. They just started out with
Any old-
basketball, and then when
Yeah.
we'd meet up with them, we would get clobbered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Big Gene Fine, he was one of them that
Okay.
lived in Hazel. I just started playing basketball.
Most of them places where they, early years when they played basketball in these old shacks, little old gymnasium, some of them are so small you could touch both, either side at the same time.
Oh,
You touch,
mercy.
it, you know.
Did you ever
Oh, you
play
have
the
to-
one in Brant?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah,
in
basketball and Brant, but they never played football in
No, but
Brant.
Brant had a dance floor. It was almost square, and that was the basketball court.
Okay.
We played in the county playoff games. We played there, and then there wasn't any room, so the crowd would occupy the corners.
Yeah.
And if you touched a person who was that far inside, it was out.
Yeah.
I remember the most dismal game I ever tried to play.
Yeah. Basketball, you have to have a rectangle shape, not a square shape.
And,
Yeah, that's
and because we couldn't keep our traction, it'd slide, because they had waxed that floor.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I remember that too.
We got beat. That was a disaster.
Sometimes the condensation on these old basketball courts were from cold weather hitting the warm, you know.
Sure.
And then the doggone, you'd get the ball and then you'd slide. Yeah. And then you
Nice.
wouldn't run, you'd slide on.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got the whistle blown because you were traveling.
Yeah.
Oh, they were crude and cruel.
Yeah.
Even the one at Clear Lake was a cracker box.
Yeah, down in the
That's all.
It was
basement
one of the
there.
better ones, but it was
Yeah.
still concrete walls. So you better look out. You don't want to hit that.
Yeah. Get your brains knocked out.
And then knock your brains out. Yeah, then.
If you had any in the first place.
That was another place.
It's a lot of years under the bridge there, you know it?
I remember though, when I was in grade school at Uncle Elmer, your brother Elmer played
Uncle Elmer.
football,
Yeah.
This was just one season. The rest of it, I don't know what happened. But this one season, I can still remember Elmer running on down the field, you know, and he jumped on one of the opposing kids on the back and to pull him down, you know. But everybody got a big shark out of that to watch him.
You know, I remember seeing that myself.
Yeah.
I can still see Elmer riding piggyback.
There,
For a while.
that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
Hey, I think they won their game then, if I remember right. That was something. That was six-man, and I got into high school. I played six-man the first year, and then after that, I went into 11-man football, which was a lot more interesting. Nobody wanted to play six-man after they played 11. 11 was more
This is
fun.
football, though.
Six-man
Yeah,
was
that's football.
dangerous. It was so fast.
Yeah, that's right.
It was mean.
Yeah.
I got a scar here from it. I've never seen a kid get a broken leg.
Yeah.
What kind of soup you got going?
The chicken.
What kind?
Chicken, she said.
Squawk.
Well, I'm not hearing from the boys, so they must be out of range. Maybe they're beyond the 12-mile limit. Or 20-mile limit.
Well, I hope they're all okay, is all I can say.
Oh, I'm sure. Crystal's a good boats person.